In the top stories, Pensions Amendment Bill 2025 passed at National Assembly. Stuart Young steps down as chairman of the PNM, and Ukraine and the US have finally signed a minerals deal. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday newscast. Today is Thursday, the 1st of May. I am Jasmine Thomas. In a landmark move that marks a new chapter in social justice, the National Assembly of St. Christopher and Nevis on Wednesday, April 30, passed the Pensions Amendment Bill 2025. The legislation, described by Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, as a historic statement of who we are as people, introduces a structured, fair and sustainable contributory pension system for government auxiliary employees, GAEs, ES and other public service workers. Prime Minister Dr. Drew hailed it as a major step in creating a more inclusive and equitable society, especially for workers who have long been overlooked in the national pension framework. With the passage of the bill, all eligible employees will now contribute to a pension fund throughout their careers, ensuring they receive fair benefits upon retirement. This includes GAES, many of whom were previously excluded from pension benefits. Framing the legislation as part of the government's broader vision for national development, Prime Minister Drew emphasized its alignment with the Federation's commitment to becoming a sustainable island state. And Minister of Public Infrastructure, Energy and Utilities, Domestic Transport, Information, Communication and Technology and Posts, the Honorable Conway Maynard, has praised the passing of the Pension Amendment Bill 2025 in the National Assembly. The bill, introduced by Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, introduces a contributory model that regulates pension and gratuity payments, defines clear and consistent eligibility criteria, and establishes a dedicated pension fund that will ensure long-term sustainability. Delivering remarks, Minister Maynard emphasized that its introduction and the subsequent passing in the National Assembly is no political gimmick.
The next election, if I am to give out the secret, is possibly in January of 2028. Right? January 23rd? Yes, that might be the date, so you could get ready for that. PM, sorry, I know I'm busting the bubble there. But the point is that there is no election around the corner. And so this is not something of gimmickry. This is a commitment that we have made, that we have worked diligently to pursue. We would have loved that we could have come even sooner, but we wanted to make sure that it was done correctly.
He says the Dr. Drew-led administration has shown it intends to deliver for the people of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis before the eve of any general elections.
Time and time again, this government has shown, whether it is correcting the auxiliary workers' gratuity very early on, whether it is launching the Aspire program, whether it is restructuring LIFT, whether it is restructuring Elevate, whether it is building roads, whether it is building a $50 million desalination plant, whether it is getting ready to build the general hospital, whatever it is, we have decided that our timeline is not to fool people before an election. We are working on behalf of the people to deliver on behalf of the people.
Minister Maynard says the action of the government shows they care about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and are making decisions that will benefit them now and in the future. The Nevis Island Assembly has officially passed the Nevis Online Gaming Bill 2025, marking a major step by the Nevis Island Administration, NIA, toward economic diversification, innovation and revenue expansion through the establishment of a regulated online gaming industry. The bill, introduced on the 6th of March by Premier the Honorable Mark Brantley, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, received its second and third readings and was successfully passed during the Assembly sitting on the 29th of April. Premier Brantley emphasized the importance of economic diversification, noting that the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the vulnerability of relying so heavily on tourism. The Nevis Online Gaming Bill 2025 establishes a comprehensive legal and regulatory framework for online gaming operations in Nevis. All entities seeking to operate must be properly formed or incorporated under Nevisian legislation and meet high standards of transparency, integrity, and financial probity. A dedicated online gaming authority will be created to oversee registration, licensing, compliance, and enforcement. This authority will be staffed by qualified professionals and supported by a local management company incorporated under the company's ordinance. On the regional scene, Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Stuart Young has resigned from his post as chairman of the People's National Movement, PNM, effective immediately, just 2 days after the party suffered a devastating loss in the 2025 general elections. Young's resignation was announced on Wednesday via an official press release, in which he said the decision followed by a period of reflection yesterday. His exit marks a stunning turn for the party leadership, especially as it comes mere hours after PNM political leader and former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley announced he would also be stepping down effective the 1st of May. Despite stepping down as chairman, Stuart Young confirmed he will continue to serve as a member of Parliament. And voting is underway across the Cayman Islands as a record 25,643 registered electors head to the polls today to choose the territory's next government and weigh in on 3 national issues through a non-binding referendum. Polls opened at 7 in the morning and will close at 6 o'clock in the evening, with electoral officials confirming that over 2,500 Caymanians had already cast their ballots through postal and mobile voting prior to Election Day. Today's general election, monitored by observers from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, British Islands and Mediterranean region, follows a politically dynamic period that began with a 2021 vote when independent candidates secured a majority of seats. Under the Caymanian voting system, 19 members of parliament will be elected via a first-past-the-post vote. The Attorney General and the Deputy Governor serve as ex officio members, appointed by the Governor and the British monarch, respectively. Internationally, the U.S. and Ukraine have signed a new agreement granting Washington access to Ukraine's critical minerals and natural resources in exchange for long-term military and reconstruction support. The deal, which still needs ratification by Ukraine's parliament, is seen by Kiev as a major improvement over earlier drafts that heavily favored U.S. interests. It establishes a joint reconstruction fund managed equally by both countries, with profits reinvested into Ukraine's infrastructure, mining, and energy sectors. The deal includes access to 55 critical minerals such as lithium, titanium, and rare earth elements, but ownership and control of extraction remain with Ukraine. The fund will be supported by the U.S. and Ukraine, with Ukraine contributing 50% of profits from new resource ventures. No profits will be withdrawn from the fund for the first 10 years. The U.S. contribution includes financial aid and military equipment, especially air defense systems. A prior deal demanding $500 billion in mineral profits for the U.S. was rejected by Zelensky. The agreement is intended to strengthen U.S. support for Ukraine defense against Russia and reduce U.S. reliance on China for rare earth elements. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declared a national emergency as fast-moving wildfires near Jerusalem threaten to reach the city. Fueled by high temperatures and strong winds, the fires have injured at least 23 people and forced evacuations from several communities. The main highway between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv has been closed, and military forces, including 50 fire trucks and engineering units, have been deployed to assist overwhelmed firefighters. Authorities suspect arson in at least one incident, with a man arrested in East Jerusalem. The National Security Minister warned of arson terror and cancelled Independence Day events to free up emergency resources. Firefighting aircraft have been grounded due to weather, and Israel has requested international aid from several countries. French President Emmanuel Macron has offered support, and planes from Italy and Croatia are expected soon. Netanyahu stressed the priority is protecting Jerusalem. And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy. Winds are gentle from the north at 9 miles per hour. The temperature is 25 degrees Celsius or 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. The weather forecast for today predicts cloudy conditions with a 70% or high chance of showers. Tonight is expected to be cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:31 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow morning will be at around 5:45. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for joining us. I am Jasmine Thomas. Grace be to you and peace be multiplied from God the Father.